Hi besties, my name is Angie, this is my channel, maybe I'll read today, and we're going to Seattle. Applause, applause, woo! I actually don't know a lot about Seattle, but we're just gonna go on this journey together. I'm gonna vlog, we're gonna do some touristy things, we're gonna see some water. I'm probably gonna walk by that gum wall and be super grossed out, but it's gonna be part of the experience. Obviously, because this is a book channel, and obviously because I'm gonna be on a plane for like 6 hours or something, we're also gonna be doing some reading. We're gonna be reading The Arbornaut by Meg Lowman, and we're gonna be reading Nefando by Monica Ojeda. While I was packing, I realized that these two books kind of have a Seattle vibe, no? The Pacific Northwest has a lot of trees, and this is a book about a scientist who lives in the trees to get a better feel for what she's studying. And then from what I know, Seattle is also kind of like a techie city. So Nefando is about a haunted video game. So we're gonna be talking about tech stuff. I just kind of want to pat myself on the back because I kind of did that. Okay, love you, bye. Oh, I look a lot worse than I thought I did. I've been awake for way more time than I should be awake is my excuse. We made it to Seattle. I literally just got here. I just got to my hotel room. I was supposed to get here at 3 in the afternoon and it is currently 9:40 p.m. What was originally supposed to be an 8:30 in the morning flight ended up becoming a 6 p.m. flight to Seattle. I'm very tired. I'm not gonna let this one bad day like ruin my entire trip. I'm gonna wake up a new person, but for the next hour or so before I knock out, I'm gonna be a negative Nelly and I'm just gonna simmer in this irritation a little bit longer. Because I was in the airport for an entire day, I did start, read, and finish Nefando. I can't confidently recommend this book to anybody, and I don't actually know how I'm gonna talk about it on this channel without this video potentially getting demonetized. Like, this book is violent and perverse and vile in a very explicit nature. And this isn't me being like, oh, this book is so shocking, you gotta read it. Like, no, this book was really shocking and you need to look up the content warnings before you get into this, because I wanted to put this book down multiple times and then I remembered I literally had nothing else in my bag to entertain myself for the next 6 hours, and so I had to continue reading it. Basically, this book follows 6 artists who live together in an apartment. I originally went into this thinking it was a haunted video game. It's actually not very haunted in the supernatural sense, it's more haunted in the metaphorical, emotional sense, because this video game relates to 3 of the characters' childhood trauma. So what all of these characters have in common is that they all explore different art forms as a way to make sense and as a way to come to terms with the different trauma that they faced as children. And the 3 like mainish characters are these 3 siblings who create this video game Nefando, and they create this video game as a response, as a way to reconcile the abuse that they were victim to by their father. And not only did their father physically, sexually, mentally, emotionally abuse them, but he also recorded that abuse and then he also posted it online to share with other like-minded individuals on the dark web. We're talking about real nasty dudes. And so one of the reasons why I say you really have to consider these content warnings is because there are multiple pages where Monica goes in depth of the type of abuse that these kids faced, and that was hard to read. It's definitely not a book that you'd want to read in one sitting, and it's definitely not a book that you necessarily want to read for too long, so I don't really know what the right way to read this book is. We already finished one book, and I only brought 2 books with me, so I don't exactly know what we're gonna do. I think my plans for right now is I'm gonna take a shower, I might have a good little cry, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. Hey gamers! I'm getting ready for the day because what you don't know is I'm actually in Seattle for a work thing. Morning plans is to do work thing, meet people, network, yada yada, and then in the afternoon, me and my work bestie, who is also attending this conference, we're gonna go to Pike Place Market and we're gonna grab some dinner and maybe like shop around. And not a super busy, super exciting day. One, because I'm still tired, and 2 because I don't want to subject my work bestie to like vlogging. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be a little more active. We're going to have more activities planned, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to see some cherry blossoms this trip. That's like one of my ultimate goals. I just can't decide if I should do it tomorrow where the weather is still nice, or if I should do it Thursday like I originally planned, because then I can have the whole day there. Hello, friend. Has that been here the whole time? Oh my god. Change of plan, besties. We're gonna see cherry blossoms today. Also, I got this puzzle as part of like swag. I am a touch concerned about it fitting into my bag. That's a problem for later this week though. Now, cherry blossom montage. That's my outfit of the day. I was hoping to give like business corporate goth. I think I'm kind of giving more like Hot Topic employee. I think that's also fine though. I do have 2 sweaters that I'm trying to decide between. So let me just put you down so we can like have a talk. Have a real heart to heart. I have this white sweater, which I think thematically makes the most sense. But I already wore this yesterday. And I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but a part of me is like, I'm wearing the same outfit twice, right? And I have my beloved here. I made this sweater in case you were curious. I don't know if it's like too baggy. Maybe it'll look better if I put my hair up. Is that the vibe? I'm second guessing the vibe. I think I'm gonna wear this for the business part of my day. Maybe in the afternoon I'll change to the red cardi. Because today in the afternoon, we're gonna go on a little shopping adventure. I'm not planning on going, oh, hello. Let's do a quick move. I recently came across the channel Kathleen Illustrated. Amongst the many things that they do like thrift store browses. It's just incredible the different like unique vintage pieces that they find. And like where I live, the thrift stores are kind of garbo, but I figure in a larger city like Seattle, we might be able to find something cool. So while I don't plan on buying anything, in one of their videos they mentioned that you should always go into a thrift store with a plan. So what I'm keeping an eye out for are pleated skirts and then also a matching set kind of situation. So either like a top and bottom or a top and sweater or a sweater and a dress, just like something that is a complete matching set. We might also hit up the used bookstore that has the cats in it for 2 reasons. 1, I want to see some cats. And 2, I am kind of struggling getting into the Arbornet. It might just be because I've been tired by the end of the day that I don't really feel like sitting down and reading. But I even brought her with me to the cherry blossoms, which were great. You saw them, they were great. And I don't know if it was just like the overstimulation of being in nature and being surrounded by so many people and all that good stuff, but I just like couldn't get into it. I just could not concentrate on the text. I think I would like to find an alternative to read, especially when I'm on the plane for X amount of hours, because I don't want to be stuck with a book that is not really capturing my attention at this time. I'll meet you at the thrift store. We're starting off at the bookstore, I think, because I think that's right across the street from the subway station. Whatever, I'll text you. We can coordinate in the afternoon. I'm pooped. Kathleen doesn't warn you how hard it is to thrift, but boy howdy is it hard to thrift. I ended up getting this skirt. It's not plaid, it's not pleated, but I just thought the oversized tulips were really sweet. It felt like a really nice like transition into spring kind of vibe. I also didn't have much luck at the used bookstore, but tomorrow I am gonna go back to Pike Place Market and they have a few used bookstores there. I'm really hoping I can find something at the used bookstore. I'm not gonna lie to you, I think I'm ready to go home. I think I've done everything that you can do in Seattle, given the weird hours that they operate. And so I'm like, what else is there to do? If you're unfamiliar with Seattle like I was, things shut down pretty early here. Most stores are closed by like 8 p.m. It's truly something that confuses me deeply. So if I have someone who perchance watches this video who is from Seattle or from the local area, could you maybe explain? So this morning was the last day of my conference. So once I finished all of my meetings and sessions and networkings, I decided to go to Pike Place Market. I tried to go there earlier this week and I was too late. Most of the stores were closed by 4 p.m. So I made it a mission to actually go today when I knew I would have more than enough time. I bought some things. We can do a quick little haul and then we can discuss my plans for tonight and tomorrow. Tomorrow's my last full day in Seattle, so we're gonna try and make the most of it, given the time constraints that Miss Seattle has laid upon us. One of the first stores that I went to was So Much Yarn. I really want to get into the habit of getting a souvenir, but not a knickknack that collects dust and is like whatever. So one of my ideas for one of these like unique, interesting souvenirs is to get a ball of yarn. Then not only do I have this as a souvenir, but then I can also create something with it. And then it has even more sentimental value. I decided to pick up this little guy. This is the Noro World of Nature. And these are actually really expensive because they're made out of like real silk, or like a combination of silk and something else. So this is actually silk and cotton. This was in their 40% off clearance bin. Did I still pay a lot for this one ball of yarn? Yes, but my justification was that it would be very rare and very unlikely to find this brand at 40% off again in like an independent super niche yarn store. I really like the colors in this. I like how it's like super funky. It has like purples and greens and blues and oranges. And I think my idea for this is to make like a raglan baby tee top. Every single time I wear it, I'll think about this trip to Seattle, and I think that's something really special. Also went to this like fabric thrift shop that's in the marketplace, and so I got these 2 balls of yarn for $4. The total that I paid amounts to 3 balls of yarn. That's my yarn math. But I like how bulky it is. I like that there's a little bit of fluff to it. And when I first saw these, like literally at the window of this store, I was like, oh, I can make that pink Sailor Moon top that is haunting me. I know I have the top already made. I could just unravel that top and use that same yarn to redo the top that I need to redo. But one of the reasons why I keep pushing off that redo project so much is because I just don't like that yarn. It just like doesn't feel good. I very much like these more. This I'm sure is like also an acrylic blend of some kind. I really don't know for sure because there's no tags, but it doesn't feel as scratchy and as uncomfortable as the other one. Now that I have this, I can also start that project eventually. The real reason I went to the marketplace today is because I really wanted to find a new book that I can read on my flight home. I did end up buying 2. Oopsie poopsie. The first is Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi. I heard of this book through a lot of different like YouTube and Instagram sources, but like what truly influenced me into adding this to my TBR is Allison Pages. I just love their book recommendations. I just love their book taste. From what I remember, they said it was about a PhD student who is studying addiction in mice. Their research starts to really parallel these things that they're discovering about their family. The second book I got was Fight Night by Miriam Teves. This is an author that Kat from Lit with Kat always recommends. They're another channel that has incredible taste in books. So that's my little haul. I didn't spend too much time at the market. I think I got back to my hotel room around like 1:32ish, and I considered like going back out again and doing some more exploring, but if I'm being so real with you, I'm a little tired. And so I think tonight I'm actually gonna take it easy and just kind of hang out here. I have some snacks, I have water, I have enough stimulation in my enclosure that I can just kind of take it easy and stay in tonight. It's our last full day in Seattle. I've been awake for like 5 hours and I haven't left my hotel room yet. And that's not to say that I've been wasting the day away. It's still just 10 a.m. I am planning on leaving my hotel room soonish because we are going to the Museum of Pop Culture. I did start Fight Night by Miriam Teves. I'm really enjoying it. I just made it to chapter 4 and there's just like something very sad but whimsical about this
family. We're following this 9-year-old. She lives in a really crowded, really cluttered, really chaotic home with her mom and her grandma. And her dad is either dead and or missing and or abandoned them. The book opens up with her writing a letter to her dad and kind of just like recounting the day-to-day things to her dad. But really this book is about her and her grandma. This book has been really sweet and really delightful. I really like being in this perspective of a young child, because as an adult reading this, you see between the lines all of the conflict, all of the chaos that isn't necessarily like the healthiest environment for a child to be raised in. But through this child's perspective, you are just so filled with admiration and love for her mom and her grandma and this little home that they've created for themselves and the little games that they play with her. There's so much life and love in this family, in this book, despite all of the conflict, despite all of the trauma, despite all of the hardship. You can tell that these people are really devoted to each other. However, I will say I'm a little scared. I feel like this is a book that's going to get very serious very quick, like kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and that makes me kind of concerned.
It's only 2:30 and we're already back. I figured for the rest of the day, or at least until the sun sets, I'm gonna hang out on the terrace and do some reading. And so before doing any of that, we're here together. But before this, I went to the cafe in the hotel and I decided to get a hot chocolate, and this poor barista, the pump wasn't working, so she was like trying to pour the chocolate sauce into the cup and she accidentally filled the cup like a third of the way with chocolate sauce, and she was like, oh no, I made it too sweet. Do you mind if I put this in a large cup instead? And I was like, do I mind? Like, you're giving me a free large hot chocolate, like yeah, go for it. She started steaming more milk and then like it kind of exploded and she kind of made a mess, and she was just like, I don't know why this is happening to me. I never get nervous making drinks. So when she finally finished my drink, she was like, can I get you like a cookie or something? And I was like, why? Like, no, I'm good. She was like, no, just to make up for the way that I messed up your drink. She was just like, I'm gonna get you some croissants. Which ones do you like? And so I was just like, all right, well, if you're like serious about giving me this free shit, I do love a chocolate croissant. And so she ended up giving me 4 bags of chocolate croissants, which is really great because I have a little snack for tonight, and then I also have more than enough snacks for breakfast tomorrow. So I didn't catch her name, but like, I love you. It's our last day, it's our last morning, it's our last final hours. So that does mean that we have one last trip, one last journey, one last hurrah in the city of Seattle, and that's to go around the corner and get some coffee. There's a cafe near my hotel called the Grumpy Bean Cafe. It sounds really cute, and they have a salted caramel drink that I want to try. I have my pastries from yesterday. Again, shout out to that barista. I love you so much. Our wedding is in April of next year, question mark. Anyways, we're gonna get breakfast. Bye. I'm back. Incredibly thankful that I was able to even go on this trip, and even more so that the weather was so cooperative, because I mean, you saw it. Clear skies, warm weather. I was walking around in a tank top most of the time, and since I've been back home, I had to pull out my winter coat again. So I'm not saying it's the universe telling me that I'm not meant to be on the East Coast, but I do think that's exactly what the universe is trying to tell me. Anyways, I do have a final
reading update for you. I did finish Fight Night on the plane ride home. I ended up giving it like 4.5 stars. I actually don't really remember because it's been 2 weeks since we've last checked in. I've been sick, I don't remember anything. And even if I wasn't sick, I probably wouldn't remember a lot either, but I can tell you I enjoyed it a lot. All of the warm, cozy feelings that I felt in the first half of the book continued on to the end, but also the one concern that I had that shit was gonna hit the fan also came to fruition towards the end of the book. I won't tell you the ending, but just know that it hurt, but it was beautiful, and I think it was everything that I needed in that moment. I'm such a sucker for stories about like matriarchal families. I'm such a sucker for like grandmother, granddaughter relationship stories. I'm a huge sucker for stories about 9-year-olds who shouldn't be as responsible as they are because of trauma and circumstance and survival. And on top of all of that, I'm a huge fan of projecting my own past onto the things that I pick up and read. So that's all you really need to know about my relationship with Fight Night. And I'm definitely gonna pick up more books by this author. So huge shout out to Kat, because they're the ones who put this author on my radar, and I had such a good, sad, teary-eyed time that I want more of that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.